Okay, so welcome everyone. We have today our week 4 interaction of our course on pain and suffering. And this week 4 we are taking up psychic being. And I'm hoping that some of you may have at least brushed through, if not completely, or maybe some of us who have been touched with uh, with these words or teachings earlier, you may have already heard about the psychic being. Or what about, what is this thing that they talk of, and why is it important is it's we know none of us likes misery and suffering, right? And that is, again, as we were sharing last time, misery and suffering are nothing but signals that there is something that I'm missing, right? And what we talked about last time was that we are identifying ourselves as what we are not. I take myself to be the body, the thought, the feeling, and that's why I suffer. And the moment I'm able to step back and take the stand as pure knowing, anything is happening, who is the one who sees all this happening? When we take that stand, we step back, only then we can begin on this path of meeting life, actually. Because if we are always in our thoughts, and thoughts usually are never in the now, thoughts are never in the now, right now when I'm this interaction is going on, thoughts are not present. It's like a direct interaction, right? And when the interaction is over, then I can think about whatever happened. So thoughts are never in the now. And our thoughts of a separate personality, it is a figment of our imagination to which we attach and we suffer. So why is the concept, or if I can call it a concept, why is it important for us to know the psychic truth or the psychic being? Because that is our mission. If one can say what is the purpose, that is the purpose. The more we get in touch with it, the more our true personality, what Mother calls as psychic personality, the more it has the chance to manifest it out in this life, right? And which is more truth, more beauty, all these deeper emotions of kindness, compassion, truth, honesty, all those are its kind of, it's like a goodie bag, it kind of comes with that. There is no effort that one has to do in order to be truthful, because psychic being by itself is pure and luminous. So there is no effort that I have to do. What is the effort is now, what we are doing is, this is what is the effort, uh, kind of retracing our steps back from the older patterns and learning to live a new way of life, which is more truer, more honest, more sublime. So this is why, without touching the psychic being, we cannot imagine. Then there may be people actually who are actually manifesting their psychic out, but they are not aware of the concept of psychic being. That is a possibility, which is it's a common possibility. But we have this chance, owing to the a sea of literature in front of us, that we can study what it is, right? Yeah. So please share, before I begin the document. All of you are just welcome to share whatever reflections or so far from the course, anything. Yeah.
So, Monica, I have one question regarding the psychic being. So, psychic being is carried, is that part of us, which is eternal. So, it's been with us throughout our various lives. So, does is it the soul, or
Mm.
is it so it carries the samskaras, the tendencies that we bring? And if it does, then how does these tendencies interact with the soul?
Yeah, I think this is a very deep kind of knowledge in which we can immerse ourselves. And that is why I shared that chapter 3, psychic being. So As far as just touching upon the truth of it, the essence of it, uh, it, it is not the tendencies or sanskaras. It goes through all the experiences, but it's not something which is, if you can say that it is embedded with my tendencies and patterns. Tendencies or patterns are part of the desire soul. Tendencies, habits, patterns, behaviors. Psychic personality does not have a tendency or a pattern. It is fluid and dynamic. But yes, I think I understand what you are saying, that each and every person manifests the truth out in a particular fashion. For example, um, my structure of the mind and the structure of my past experiences may have helped me today to talk about these things at ease, right? So psychic personality is something which is taking the impression from all the experiences and getting richer and richer by it. It does not mean that it is stuck in some tendency. One can also say that what is one's swadharma or swabhava is coming from the psychic. But I would keep apart tendencies and sanskaras, because they are not, as far as I am aware, they are not the part of the psychic personality. They are something which are limitations of our nature, and that is why we are becoming more aware of my patterns, my behavior, so that I can drop them off. I don't have to carry those limits with me. Yeah. And yes, when you say that it is this, is it the soul? So I have this little booklet with me. It's soul and how to find it. Again, it is nothing very special that I have. It's all available online, and also some of it may be available as in this PDF also, and also in the chapter 3 from letters on yoga. So in this, in the very beginning, there is this little excerpt where Sri Aurobindo uses different terms for the psychic soul. As psychic, what are the words that he uses? Soul essence, soul spark, soul element, psychic entity, psychic existence, psychic essence. So there are several names that he is using. And what he says, just for the introduction, is that there is this central core, which is the soul, and around it, through experiences of lives and lives and lives, around it develops a psychic being. So it's like the psychic personality is developing owing to the impressions of life, all the lives. It is gaining experiences, it is getting richer and richer. So it's the center of the psychic being is the soul, which we call as antaratman. And psychic being in Hindi is called as Chaitya Purusha, psychic being, which is our true uh, swabhava, that needs to manifest, if possible, in this lifetime. And again, one can go actually in the theory a lot. There is so much available that you can get lost in the theory. But my idea of using this in the course was not to get lost in the theory. My idea was that the more I get in touch with this inner being, which is untouched, which is going through experiences, it is having all the richness of experiences, but it is still untouched element. The more I get in touch with that space within me, which is available 24/7, right? The more I am, if I can use the words, I'm coming closer and closer to the psychic personality. I'm becoming more truer a person, not hiding something, no need for vanity, no need for pride, no need to be hypocrite about things. I'm ready to manifest my truth out in fullness. So our focus in this course, although there can be courses on psychic being, our focus in this course is to get a glimpse of it, get a feel of it, which is available to us throughout. It is just that the veil of thoughts and feelings, they mask the psychic being. The veil of tendencies and patterns, they mask the psychic being. Just like we were talking in the other sessions, that if clouds, dark clouds are there, it doesn't mean that the sky is absent. The sky is forever present. So we have to get in touch with that space in the middle of the confusion, that space in me which is forever untouched. So the more we are staying in that space, the more I can allow the psychic to take front seat. And again, mother shares that it can actually take a lifetime or more than a lifetime to allow the fullness of psychic to manifest. So don't feel, uh, those of us who are listening to this for the first time, maybe not heard of it, don't feel that they, one has to really, I have to find my psychic, I have to find. No, it's not our job. It's not our job. One has to just keep surrendering, remembering the mother, offering each and every moment to the mother, movement to the mother, and mother finds the psychic for us. That is the easiest, shortest path to be in touch with the psychic. So again and again, one will feel the vital may rush. I have not found the psychic or something. Have I found the psychic? Something like that. So we don't have to bother. We just will be so blessed to just walk on this path, that whether I have found the psychic or I have not found the psychic, this journey itself is beautiful. So let us stay with that. That's my kind of recommendation. And obviously, uh, whatever comes to you naturally, go with that. Yeah.
I heard Alokda once, he was saying that soul is the seed
Yeah.
and the psychic being is the flower. Like you're
Mm.
saying, with experiences into this flower and
Beautiful. Yes.
to become the psychic being.
Yeah.
And I think any notes I read it somewhere where it says that, when you're in the psychic, like there's no greed, no worry, no
Yeah.
desires, no
Yeah.
hankering. I think it's the notes. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much to do.
it
And
it
so it
seems
just says,
actually, it seems like it's a far off thing, है ना, जैसे आप बता रहे हो कि अच्छा
uh,
ग्रीड नहीं है, डिजायर नहीं है, ऐसा लग रहा है ना बहुत दूर की जर्नी है.
uh,
That's how it feels. But
but one day
um,
at a time, I think.
amazing thing is that it is available to us right now in this moment as we talk.
Yeah.
And this is what we call as the veil of ignorance or the veil of Maya. That it obscures what is obvious and our essence. It obscures that. Yeah. And again, the reiteration that I keep on doing again and again, that uh, owing to the fact that it is our essence, psychic essence, as we read the few names that Sri Aurobindo says, soul essence. It is our essence. How can I be away from the essence at any moment of time? So we must have on this journey that certitude that in this moment of confusion, I may appear to be lost, but have that faith that we are always in the lap of the mother. We are always in basking in the soul essence. It is just that the thought takes such a form, and such a huge form it takes, that it appears so real, and we are not able to be with the essence, if I can use those words, be with the essence, while we are just floating in the imaginary realm, me and my worries and anxieties and all that. While in the middle of all that, the psychic essence is shining bright, forever. So we are not away from it. And we have all touched these moments where we are not in any desire. There is no greed. There is just a gladness in the heart. We have all touched those moments. It is not a possibility that we have not. So the journey is to make that more of our life, because that is our true life. And how do I know that that is my true life? Because wherever else, if I go with greed or if I go with desires, I just feel so uneasy. I don't feel myself. I feel hurt. I feel suffering. That is the signal. So that we are becoming more and more sensitive to those signals. And the more sensitive we become to those signals, we will not be able to do anything that is against, if I can say, the peace and contentment. The moment I see myself going into confusion, worries, and anxiety, I will be able to stop myself. Now, the mastery also comes from the touch of the psychic. Once I have tasted that pure presence that doesn't want anything, that doesn't demand anything, that is happy either doing work or relaxing, that once I have touched it, then only I can say, no, I don't want to go into that story because I have been there enough, and it's like a cruelty if I go there. Only then a bit of self mastery begins to come. Yeah.
Yeah, so today's quote on Mother's calendar is, with confidence we shall advance, and with certitude we shall wait.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes, that's what you said. Okay, a little bit about the course. Uh, it was very, I mean, I see the way you've structured it so well that the questions that you send, it makes us think. Because we have to answer, we sit through the whole process of, you know, putting it in words. Otherwise, in life, we just get swayed and distracted. So I'm feeling very good about that. To then to write, it kind of reinforces what you superficially or maybe midway believe. And so the writing is very good. I think it's good for me. So, and I like the way you are taking us week by week and unfolding things for us. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks. Thank you. So anything else, anyone, so far, anything that you want to share, either through this week, or you know any questions, concerns, or then we can just jump. If not, then we can jump to the document. Okay. ठीक है, तो then let's. Okay, I think I have to just open it again. I'll just stop the screen share and share it again. Just a second. Yes, so let us begin then. We'll see how much we can cover. And it doesn't matter if we don't cover the whole document. I'm sure we will touch upon the essence, and that will give us a kind of a kickstart to this. Yeah, so okay, let us read the first para itself. Who would like to read? Oh, that color is a little. Oh, oh, maybe there is something wrong with my screen. Who would like to read?
I will read because for some reason the screen goes black for me. So it's
अभी ठीक
easy if
है?
you say first paragraph. No, no, there's some
अच्छा.
problem with my something.
हाँ, जो
So
आप
I will
फर्स्ट
read, just
पैराग्राफ
tell
पढ़
me.
लो. या
From
फर्स्ट
the
पैराग्राफ.
psychic world to
Exactly.
uh, it in all things, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. The psychic world or plane of consciousness is that part of the world. The psychic being is that part of the being which is directly under the influence of the divine consciousness. The hostile forces cannot have even the remotest action upon it. It is a world of harmony, and everything moves in it from light to light and from progress to progress. It is the seat of the divine consciousness. the divine self in the individual being. It is a center of light and truth and knowledge and beauty and harmony, which the divine self in each of you creates by his presence, little by little. It is influenced, formed, and moved by the divine consciousness of which it is a part and parcel. It is in each of you, the deep inner being, which you have to find in order that you may come in contact with the divine in you. It is the intermediary between the divine consciousness and your external consciousness. It is the builder of the inner life. It is that which manifests in the outer nature, the order and rule of the divine will. If you become aware in your outer consciousness of the psychic being within you and unite with it, you can find the pure eternal consciousness and live in it. Instead of being moved by the ignorance as the human being constantly is, you grow aware of the presence of an eternal light and knowledge within you. And to it you surrender and are eternally consecrated to it and moved by it in all things.
Yes. So this again, I'll be picking up a few lines, and anything that you want to pick up, just pick, unmute, and share. Uh, the hostile forces cannot have an even a remotest action upon it. And I have been, again, in many sessions, I've been sharing that in the middle of confusion, in the middle of depression, there is something in me which is completely untouched by depression. One can say, how is this possible? But it is a fact. It is a fact. And that's where we want to go. And that's what all the challenges give us, this opportunity. Because otherwise, when the life is always going, okay, and okay. So otherwise, when the life is going fine, right? We don't care to go deeper, right? Why would I want to change anything, when I know that I don't need to change. सब ठीक तो चल रहा है. But जब चीजें बिगड़ने लग जाती हैं, when I see that something is wrong and something is really in disharmony and I'm not fine with that, only then I get a chance to go deeper, because I now want to find a resolution for this misery. So only misery, these dark forces like misery, suffering, they propel us to find our true being. Otherwise, we would not care. As in Savitri, also beautiful chapter on pain, that pain is the hammer of God to break the dead resistance in mortal's heart. And it is so beautiful that one is able to use the pain to go deeper and unite with the true being, if one can use the word unite. For the psychic being, it is forever united with the divine. But when we talk about this journey of moving closer to the psychic being, right, uh, we talk it from the perspective of the separate self or the ego, or this from the perspective of the outer consciousness. It's just like ocean is there, right? From the perspective of ocean, everything in itself is ocean. The whirlpool is ocean, the wave is the ocean, the blue whale is part of the ocean. It is all ocean. But when I have too much identified myself as a wave which is separate from the ocean, and I've been suffering owing to that fact, that identification. Now for me, I can say that I have to now unite myself with the ocean. So kind of drop off the thoughts, all the thoughts that say I am not the ocean. So from the perspective of wave, it is emerging back, but from the perspective of ocean, it is forever one. Right? It is forever one. So that is again, going back to where we were, the hostile forces cannot have any remotest action upon it. So that brings us the certitude that we are forever safe in the arms of divine. There is only divine that is. So even when I am going through depression, if I can have that streak of faith that yes, I am being taken care of, it is not a possibility that depression does not become a learning experience for me. It would stop being a misery, it would become a learning experience. It is a world of harmony and everything moves in it from light to light and from progress to progress. So there is no end to this journey that we have embarked upon. It can only go better. It may seem worse on the face value at times, but it can only go better with this streak of faith. Even without the streak of faith, it will just take a longer time. The journey has only to get better. One must have this certitude. From light to a greater light, from progress to a greater progress. It's like a spring which is constricted. Imagine you have a spring that we have used to have in the ball pens. You constrict it. Now, how long can it remain constricted? It is impossible that it does not go to its original, the relaxed position. It may take time. It may take time. It may leave some impressions. But it is not a possibility that the spring does not go back in its original fullness. And that is the certitude here we have. That it is not a possibility that we don't move towards light. We can only move towards light because light is all there is. Even darkness is nothing but a disguise of light. Yeah. And then Mother shares the yellow part that I've kind of highlighted. If you become aware in your outer consciousness of the psychic being within you and unite with it. Now, Mother is already sharing that in your outer consciousness, you have to become aware. The psychic being is aware of everything. Psychic being is in no hurry. And that is why the hurry of the vital is absent from the psychic being. As we were discussing the goodies that come with the psychic being, because it is in no hurry, it is forever complete. So why would it hurry? The hurry of the vital, that I want to do it right now, that happens with us. So that hurry is not there, a certitude is there, and whenever action is desired, the action is done, right? And Mother is sharing that you have to become aware in your outer consciousness, because in our outer consciousness we suffer. Psychic being is not suffering. My outer consciousness is suffering. So who needs self-realization? The outer consciousness. The ego needs self-realization because the ego is suffering owing to not knowing itself as pure awareness. Owing to believing again and again and feeding the story of me and myself. The ego is suffering. And it perpetuates its misery. That's the thing with the ego. It perpetuates the misery because the misery is ego. And this is our task. This is, if anything that can be called work, this is the work. That in my outer consciousness, I have to, as if, go back and consult the psychic again and again. Go back and consult the inner being again and again. Take more pauses in the beginning. In the beginning, it actually requires effort because we are not used to it, right? I'm not used to consulting the psychic. I'm just used to go in the impulsion of my tendencies and act from there. And that is why a slowness, a slowing down, a stepping back is urgent. Because in that stepping back, I look back, I take a step back in my calm, in my poise, and then I see what is happening. Then my words are well framed. They are not coming out of my tendencies. They're explaining the right thing. The truth of your being is being explained out. So in the beginning, it's like going out, then moving in. Going out, then moving in for reflection, and slowly that going out and moving in is not required, because it's the inner being that is manifesting itself out. So it's like a flow of the inner being, to the outer consciousness. And that is the process, that is the sadhana, if one can say, that is the task. uh, yeah, instead of being moved by the ignorance, so you can find the pure eternal consciousness, mother says. You can find the pure eternal consciousness and live in it. This Vedantic tradition says as abide by as the self, abide as the true being who you are. Hmm? Instead of being moved by the ignorance. What is the ignorance? The ignorance is I as a separate personality, me and my story. And without the story, without the agendas and manipulations, the I is nothing but pure consciousness. It does not want anything. The I, the same I, as if it has dropped off its cloak that it was wearing, the cloak of ignorance, it has dropped off. In the symbol Dawn, Savitri, the first canto, we have this darkness slipped like a falling cloak from the body of gods. That's what I got reminded of. So when I'm able to see myself as pure witnessing consciousness and live more as that, I will see that ignorance has no chance to stay. And ignorance is believing in my story, living as me and my story. My body, my past, my future, my family, my relations, all this baggage is the ego's baggage. So it is still possible to live a life with the same body, with the same mind, with the same emotions, and yet be free of that baggage. Nothing has changed externally. This family is the same, the relations are the same, the baggage is not there. And the baggage is the ignorance. Any baggage is the ignorance. So instead of being moved by the ignorance, we can live uh, as pure eternal consciousness. And you grow aware of the presence of an eternal light, a light which has never left us, a light which has forever been there in all my experiences, if not from previous lives. Right now, remember, through your childhood, this light which has never left me, and to it you surrender. And who surrenders? Again, the light does not need to surrender. The light is already surrendered. Ego needs to surrender. The imaginative self needs to surrender. Because for us it is not imaginative. For us it has become a reality. And that's why we talk of surrender as something which is to be done, because we have become the ego, we have become the separate self. And that's why the process of the more and more complete self-giving or self-surrender. Yeah. So anything in this paragraph?
Uh, uh, may, uh, may I share something which I did in the yoga course on the psychic being?
Yes, yes.
Dr. Bijlani used to take this class, and then he used to tell, through stories, when you're listening to your soul, he used to say very interesting stories to us. देखो आपने अपनी soul की सुनी थी इस समय. So he told us 4 questions. That is the way you can identify that that's the voice of the psychic being. So if you're making a choice which is based on egoistic consideration, if the answer is yes, it cannot be coming from, it is not the voice of psychic being. Number 2, if the choice you make is coming from considering worldly gain or loss, if the answer is yes, it is not the voice of the psychic being. And if you're making a choice based on love, unconditional, universal, which doesn't expect anything in return? And if the answer is yes, is this the voice of the psychic being?
Mm.
And the last one, the most important, you used to say was, will the choice lead to lasting mental peace? Whatever choice that you're making. If the answer is yes, it is based from the voice of the psychic being.
Mm.
अगर रात को आप सो पाते हो, आप कोई मतलब ऐसी कुछ एक्शंस करे हैं और आराम से सो पाते हो, दैट मीन्स योर डे वाज लाइक यू हर्ड योर सोल. बट
Mm.
अगर आपने कुछ गलत काम या बात करी होगी, वो आपको डिस्टर्ब करेगी और आपको रात को नींद नहीं आएगी. दैट इज योर साइकिक बीइंग.
Beautiful.
यू डिडंट लिसन टू इट.
Mm. Beautiful.
Monica, so this living in the moment, if one can use the phrase, without the baggage, this for me, although very relieving, but is also very, very disconcerting in the sense, it feels like a blankness. I mean, I don't know. So, just wanted to understand that it's almost a state of you're not doing anything. You're
Mhm.
not. We're so used to worrying that if the worry is missing, that it almost feels as if you've given up.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Yes, you're right. That day in some other session, I was sharing that imagine that you are used to live with 20 people in your house. Okay. And all of those people, apart from you, so the 19 people, or you are maybe the 21st, 20 people are now gone. They have maybe gone out holidaying or whatever, right? And it's a big house. So in the beginning, you will not feel a comfort. Huh? You will not feel very although it is like you have all the house to yourself, you have all the peace to yourself, but it will not appear comforting in the beginning. Why? Because I'm not used to that peace. So you are right when you say that it is discomforting, because we are so obsessed by in kind of default thinking, worrying, excessively going into the past, going to the future, thinking about what that person did to me. Maybe that person may have done a very beautiful job, and then thinking about it. So we are so 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 obsessed with the mind being, as we were saying, abused, that in the beginning, when this rest comes, when the absence of the story is there in few moments, it actually feels like a blankness and emptiness, right? And it is completely fine to go through that discomfort. और होता क्या है, again going to that visual imagery, that in the beginning, when those 20 people are gone, I'll feel uncomforting, it will be discomforting. I will not even know what to do with this so much of time now I have, oh my god. पहले तो लोगों को समझाने बुझाने में ही टाइम लग जाता था. So in the beginning, I will feel this discomfort, and slowly, slowly, as I allow myself to be in that blankness, imagine being embraced by it. Imagine basking in that blankness. Because it is not a numb blankness that you experience. It is a very conscious and alive blankness. It is intelligence itself, right? So allow yourself to be with that discomfort. You can be with that discomfort. It is a auspicious discomfort. Hmm? And slowly, slowly, when you have allowed enough, and when you have now no issues with it, so in the same house now I am becoming more comfortable with that emptiness when the house is totally empty. Now slowly I will begin to find my own rhythm. What is to be done, if anything needs to be done. And most of the time, if not all the time, allow yourself to bask in that presence. It is not an emptiness, it is, one can feel as an emptiness, it's an, if one can say, it's an empty presence. It is a presence that one feels. but it is not a presence of those thoughts and clutter of the mind. So it is a different kind of a feeling. So that is what I would say here. Just allow yourself to be. It's a new thing that is emerging. We are not used to it, and anything that we are not used to, it feels a bit discomforting in the beginning, but slowly we find our rhythm, right, through it. Yeah. Imagine your being soaked in that emptiness. Imagine yourself uh, being soaked in that emptiness. Let it go into your cells of the body. This is how even mother at one point of time, so let the emptiness go into your cells. When you lie down at night, let that fullness go into the cells. Mind is very uncomfortable with that blankness. The finite mind is very uncomfortable with that blankness. Yeah, yeah. Yes, Jasmine. And that's only because the mind is just abused for so many years that it is not used to that. It is not that mind does not want this blankness. Mind loves this blankness slowly, because that is its rest. It has found its home. It has found way back home almost. So slowly the mind also gets used to being silent and calm most of the time. If you can say empty or blank, that is also okay. And in this emptiness, one just knows the right action to be done. This is direct, pure perception. No thinking involved, no logic and reason involved. One just knows, okay, now I have to do this. Now this is to be done. So there is no excessive torture of the mind going on. It's a beautiful phase or state. One must enjoy. तो जैसे होता है ना, withdrawal effects होते हैं if we are leaving a old habit. If I'm maybe used to eating sweets too much, in the beginning it is discomforting for me because I'm not used to. And slowly, if I allow myself to go through that discomforting phase, I know that it is just good for me to do that, right? Yeah. So let's go further. If anything, just keep sharing. Who would like to read the underlined part?
May I?
Yes, please.
From for your psychic being, right?
Yes, yes.
For your psychic being is that part of you which is already given to the divine. It is its influence gradually spreading from within towards the most outward and material boundaries of your consciousness that will bring about the transformation of your entire nature. There can be no obscurity here. It is the luminous part in you. Most people are unconscious of this psychic part within them. The effort of yoga is to make you conscious of it so that the process of your transformation, instead of a slow labor extending through centuries, can be pressed into one life or even a few years. The psychic being is that which persists after death because it is your eternal self. It is this that carries the consciousness forward from life to life.
Yeah.
The psychic being is the real. All right, should I carry forward?
No, yes, you can. You can. Please go ahead. Yeah.
The psychic being is that which persists after death because it is your eternal self. it is this that carries the consciousness from life to life. The psychic being is the real individuality of the true and divine individual within you. For your individuality means your special mode of expression, and your psychic being is a special aspect of the one divine consciousness that has taken shape in you. But in the psychic consciousness, there is no there is not the sense of division between the individual and the universal consciousness, which affects the other parts of your nature. You are conscious there that your individuality is your own line of expression, but at the same time, you know too that it is an expression of objectifying the one universal consciousness. It is as though you had taken a portion out of yourself and put it in front of you, and there were a mutual look and play of movement between the two. This duality was necessary in order to create and establish the objectivized relation and to enjoy it. But in your psychic being, the separation that sharpens the duality is seen to be an illusion, an appearance, and nothing more.
Yes. Yeah. So this is, the first line, that the psychic being is the part of you which is already given to the divine. And that day we were again discussing, I think maybe in prayers and meditations, we were talking about this, that we are already surrendered to the divine. It is the ego or the sense of separate self that makes it appear that I am something different, and rest of the manifestation or whatever, the divine is something different. It is just the ego which makes it believe that I am separate from the existence, right? बट उसके सोचने से तो कुछ नहीं होगा ना. ईगो के सोचने से it doesn't mean that we are not surrendered. And that is why again it is called falsehood or ignorance, because ego is ignorant that it is already surrendered. But from the point of being the egos, then it becomes important for me, okay, I am on this path of surrender, because it happens only in time. The beings that we are, it seems to happen in time. And that is why we call it as a path to surrender, path of surrender. Huh? But from the perspective of the psychic being, it is already given. There is no surrender that the psychic being needs to do to the divine. Again, that wave crashing back into the ocean. For the ocean, it was always the ocean. But for the wave, which has identified itself as a separate thing in itself, something apart from the ocean, from that space, I need to say that yes, I need to give myself back to the divine. But babe, know first that you cannot take away yourself from the divine, because divine is all that is. So that taking back from the divine, taking myself away from the divine, is the illusion which has never happened and can never happen. But we live a life in that, right? We live a life as a separate entity, away from all which is good and divine. And that is why it becomes important for us to, do this path, follow this path of yoga, for example, right? Yeah. And most people are unconscious of this psychic part within them. Now, if I am unconscious to the psychic part, it does not mean that the psychic part is not there, right? The effort of yoga is to make you conscious of it, because the outer consciousness is the one which is suffering in the absence of knowing that it is that psychic personality, it is that light that shines within the being. So this is the effort of yoga, or the union, Union is only required when there are two. So yoga will always talk about this thing of the outer consciousness coming back or uniting with the inner being. But for the inner being is all there is. Yeah, the effort of yoga is to make conscious of it so that the process of transformation, instead of a slow labor extending through centuries, as we were discussing, that we have to progress, we have to move towards light. There is no other way. The only thing that Mother says and in this integral yoga is that what you can do is you can just collaborate. That is what we can do. Whenever we feel ready and capable, we say, okay, now I am collaborating with this for this union. I'm not going to be my own enemy. So I'm going to shorten the path. Instead of centuries, I'll give it my life. जाना तो एक ही डायरेक्शन में है. अगर नाना नाना करूंगी तो ज्यादा टाइम लगेगा, राइट? और अगर हाँ 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 करूंगी तो सीधा स्ट्रेट शॉर्टकट, not even that shortcut, but yeah, still, it's enjoyable journey at least. Yeah. And then this continuity, that we were talking of, the psychic being is that which persists after death. So the more I get in touch with the psychic, using that language, getting outer consciousness is getting in touch with the psychic, the more I am allowing the psychic to kind of take the frontal lead, make it the king of my house, the more I will see that I will live in a fearlessness. Yes, death may come anytime, and it is okay if it takes me away because I'm living fully each moment. Now, I'm not waiting for a future to come and when I will live life. So this, because I know that I cannot die, who I, the true I is, that cannot die. The body may die, the mental vital being may scatter, disappear, but I never die. So what to fear? Why to fear even an illness? And the more fear is present in my life, it is an indicator that I am living as a separate cut off, as an outer consciousness, and as if a wall is obscuring the psychic light. So the more fear is there, that something will happen to me, and something should not happen to me. And definitely I am considering at that point of time me as a separate entity, who is this body, and the mind connected with the body and the feelings of the body, right? Only that can die. So this again, fearlessness of the being, not an arrogant fearlessness, a gentle fearlessness, that yes, come what may. That is again a signal that psychic is taking the lead, a increasing degree of fearlessness. Yeah. And then again, coming to the psychic individuality, our true swabhava, a true nature, and that is how the divine enjoys the infinite possibilities, through billions of us, and not billion in billions of us, not even one person has the same permutation and combination as the other one, not even twins, right? So this is the variety that the one enjoys by becoming multiple. This is the variety, the true psychic personality. That, and Mother shares at one place that each person in this new world, each person should, according to his nature, his psychic nature, would have a level by level place in the whole system. The work you can do, I cannot do it as well as you are doing it, because that section where you are optimized. Your psychic personality is optimized for that section. It is not to say that you cannot expand. Obviously expansion is forever there, but the skills and the natural tendencies, the natural inclinations, they are just suited for that role so beautifully. So that is the manifestation of the psychic personality. Yeah. This here, it's a special mode of expression, and your psychic being is a special aspect of the one divine consciousness that has taken shape in you. Yeah. But in the psychic consciousness, there is not that sense of division between the individual and the universal consciousness. So again, that fear is gone. Fear of me being a separate entity, separate individual, that is not there. And you have not done anything for it to go away. It's like an effortless thing that has happened. You have not worked on your fear. You've just taken the shortest route, uniting with the psychic. And fear is gone, the greed is gone, the desires, you see them dropping off. The desires may still prop up, but they will not be able to sway you now. They will not be able to propel you that, follow me, right? They will not be able to command you. So that is the gift of the psychic. Yeah, you are conscious that your individuality is your own line of expression.
Uh, can
Yeah.
I ask something, Monica?
जी जी बिल्कुल.
So on a very practical ground, I am going to go through a root canal. Okay, sitting on a dentist chair is, I think it's normal for everyone. They face this fear. But in recent my experiences, I have gone through some last two sessions where the person didn't attend it in the way it should have been, and now there is this huge. I have been I haven't had taken any kind of medication since last 5 years, not even a single painkiller. So I'm
Mm,
not kind of a person who doesn't. I'm not boasting, but yeah, I am just saying that I have a good threshold to understand and stay with pain. But this pain is not something that is bothering me right now. I'm getting this knot in my stomach to just go and sit on that chair. And now I don't have any option. I just don't have any option. I have to do it.
yeah,
So I was just trying to put it in place, and it is so surprising. Few of the things have just from the time we have started with this class with you, all of the things which have been my really hard hitting nails, they have come one after the another.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting. So
Mm,
I was just wondering, how will you, let's see, like, I am open to everyone. Like, what would you suggest? Like, what should
yeah,
be me on that chair? I'm going
yeah.
to, by the way.
Okay, okay. So let's hear from anyone, if anything, and anyone has something to share on this.
Well, you don't have a choice. You have to go for the treatment. Number one, it's what attitude you go with now, like having full faith in your doctor. Like,
Mm.
he'll do the best. When something goes wrong, then we'll see what to do next. Change the doctor or some other treatment. But for right now, you
Hmm.
are in best hands if you have been going to the doctor before.
Yeah, so today it was the first visit, and I really, really felt comfortable with this person. I liked, I liked being around me. That's what I liked. So but there is this memory, right, which it becomes I am trying to work myself with that past memory of this pain. So I'm just wanting to understand that how to come to this place where I can give this person this. I'm wanting to trust, I'm wanting to do what you are asking me to do, but वो आ नहीं रहा है. मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ.
Have you
Yeah.
expressed this to the doctor? Because this is an opportunity for the doctor also to learn something. A lot of us don't also express our like what we are going through, because last time when I went and I told my doctor, he was a little more gentler working on my teeth.
Yes,
So
yes, I
it's
did.
nice to share what you're feeling too.
Yes, yes, I did. So I told him that don't worry, I can manage after after the whole day, after the treatment, I myself. But I'm really, really getting these. So yeah, he did. You're very much right. He did convince me very beautifully. So I have somewhere. So I can feel this. What we are talking today about the psychic being, I can understand that it's required. I have to go. I have fixed it. I'm ready for it. I have planned my schedule in such a manner that I have not taken any of my appointments on that time. Uh, but yes, I will still say that I'm on the path. I'm not there yet.
So what exactly, Rinkuji, if I may ask, what exactly is it that you are? So this is an experience that you know that you have to go through, right? And it is going to be painful. It may vary in degree. ज्यादा पेनफुल हो सकता है, कम पेनफुल हो सकता है, कुछ हो सकता है, हाँ. थोड़ा
Hmm.
डिस्कम्फर्टिंग हो सकता है या ज्यादा डिस्कम्फर्टिंग हो सकता है, बट यू नो दैट यू हैव टू डू दिस, राइट? So what
Correct.
is the issue that you are facing? Tell me.
So the past dentist that I was with, she was a lady. So uh, she had this very dry and mm, a very dull approach to the whole process,
Hmm.
and she just wouldn't let you rest. So somewhere, what I think I have started experiencing whenever, and I did go to this person for almost 2 years continuously. I don't know why I didn't hear what right now someone suggested, but I was suggested that this person is nice, so I went, and I experienced it today that my body really goes stiff, and I'm not this person who will like, and I can sense that very soon if any of the part goes stiff, and it feels locked. It feels somewhere I'm locked, and I'm not
Hmm.
able to move left, I'm not able to move right, and I'm there in this spot where the work has, and she made that experience for me like that.
अच्छा.
So I
अच्छा.
have to go it through it again. But this person was really beautiful today. He made it very comfortable. He explained that nowadays treatments are very patient friendly. Don't worry, we will look after it. I will make sure you are comfortable. So it was good. I felt nice. but
Okay.
uh, but yeah, when you're asking me what it is, I'm not scared of, yeah, I'm not scared of pain. But what I don't like is, uh, this lady didn't inform. She would never say, yeah, she would say something and that she would do something else.
So
And she would always,
you're talking of the earlier dentist, not
yes,
this one, हाँ?
no, yes,
अच्छा,
yes,
अच्छा. तो मतलब अगर देखा जाए आपका इशू जो चल रहा है, जो आपने शेयर किया है, so you have, if I can say, some traumatic, not so traumatic,
yes,
but traumatic experience from the past dental visit.
correct.
And with this dental visit, you are feeling a bit of hope that this is not as bad as that, right?
So
Yeah.
yeah.
ओके. ओके. तो आप इमेजिन करो कि वर्स्ट
Hmm.
से वर्स्ट पॉसिबल क्या हो सकता है. That you can lose your teeth, is that
Yeah.
or
I was
tooth?
going to say just that. What is the worst that can happen? You will lose a tooth.
ये हो सकता है, और उस समय क्योंकि नंबनेस होगी आपके दांत में, तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा, दांत चला जाएगा, राइट?
You know, when you are asking me this, I'm not worried about losing a tooth. What I'm not liking is trusting someone and uh, not finding that in return. That's what is
Got it.
hurting me
Got it.
more.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I think it's a beautiful opportunity that you are having. You know, it's a beautiful opportunity. So let's see. Let's explore a bit, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So you are there on the dentist chair,
Correct.
and you were hoping that he will be good, but at the
Correct.
same time, you also had a lot of fear and trauma that
Correct.
it can actually turn into a worse thing also, huh?
Correct.
Okay. And the dental stuff is going on. So this is
Correct.
you. Okay. Now
Correct.
there is another one. There is another one in you who is now sitting at the dental chair, and she also has the past memories of bad experience,
Hmm.
but she also has a little bit of hope from this experience. Huh?
Okay.
She is aware of both the experiences going on.
Hmm.
Huh?
Hmm.
And she's not giving more importance to one experience or the other. She has a certain openness कि
Okay.
देखते हैं इस वाले में क्या होगा, हाँ, like like almost like a wonderment of a child कि देखती हूँ मैं इस वाले में कौन सा experience आता है, हाँ,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah.
where do you feel more easy?
It doesn't matter.
So I have stated two possibilities to you. I am saying which one appealed to you better.
Of course, the one where I will be having a positive experience.
हाँ, तो पॉजिटिव नहीं बोला मैंने. मैंने आपको बोला है ओपननेस है कि देखते हैं इसमें क्या
Yeah.
होगा.
So openness. Yes,
it
definitely.
it can be bad also. I'm not saying that you will have a
I,
very good experience.
yeah, I got your point. The openness will be far more approachable for me.
Huh. And at the same time, I would also say that it is okay when you are getting a bit stiffed up sitting in the dental chair.
Hmm.
Allow the stiffness to be there. There is nothing wrong with the stiffness. And if you are so stiff, the dentist will tell you कि थोड़ा सा relax कर लो.
Correct.
हाँ, so they will tell अगर उनको प्रोसीजर में मुश्किल हो रही है, they tell, you know, I have been through
Oh,
also such an experience where I was very stiff and that said कि आप बिना बात के परेशान हो रहे हो, थोड़ा relax हो जाओ, right?
yeah.
So there is nothing wrong with the stiffness.
Okay.
Allow
Oh,
yourself that there is nothing wrong with me being anxious about the process, you know. Have that allowing space in your being.
okay.
हाँ, तो आप चेयर पे बैठे हो, आपको दिख रहा है कि आप स्टिफ हो. अब
Oh,
प्रॉब्लम कब होती है कि a part of your being is resisting that stiffness.
correct.
That part of the being is saying, why is the stiffness there? I don't want to be stiff. I don't want to be stiff.
Correct.
Huh? This is the trouble. This is the misery.
Right.
So now the shift, if you can make, if not in this experience, maybe in some other experience, right? The
Hmm.
shift is that you see the stiffness being there, you see the trauma being there, and you are saying, trauma, you can stay. Stiffness, you can stay.
Okay. Okay.
There is nothing wrong seeing the trauma. There is nothing wrong being with the stiffness.
Correct.
So there you are again back on the dental chair, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
only if this can be tried, you know, if you miss this time, if
No.
still it doesn't matter, you have so many teeth, you know, some other opportunity will come.
No, I would love to give it a try.
No, no. May I also add that right now that dentist is your divine. He is the doctor.
Okay.
Your
Okay.
teeth are in his hands. Have the faith and surrender. And just the way you would explain to a child कि बेटा डेंटिस्ट के जाना है, ये ट्रीटमेंट कराना है, तो
Right.
आप अपने इनर चाइल्ड से बात करो कि
Right.
बेटा ये तो कराना है. एंड जैसे आप बच्चे का हाथ पकड़ के कंफर्ट करते हो, इफ दिस समथिंग दैट कंफर्ट्स यू, यू कैन होल्ड दैट,
Mm.
you can think of that and then just sit.
Uh, uh, you know, as I was mentioning, I too realized it. I have good threshold for things and all, but the part which the whole thing that hurt me about the last few experiences was she would say something and she would not do that, and she would completely come up with something else. So that kind of made me question the person, the being in her. And okay, this is a superficial thing, तो ठीक है हम सब dentist को एक साथ रखेंगे, that's my ego talk, I can understand that. But yes, that is more of the concern for me rather than the pain and the work and all that. And yeah, I can sense that. Yes, yes,
Yes.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Most welcome. Thank you.
That was the learning, and thanks for the reminder to
Mm.
all of us that what we say we should do.
Yeah.
That was just the learning from that experience for you.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I mean, yeah, these experiences, situations, just leave a learning, and then we should just move again.
True.
Like we keep saying, na, past में नहीं जाना चाहिए, present and future.
True. True.
You know, it's a beautiful. All these experiences are so beautiful and opportunity. And Rinkuji, I'm so glad that uh, usually this day-to-day stuff we don't share, openly, and I'm very glad that you are sharing it, because even these experiences, as mother says, little experiences can become an opportunity for ourselves to open up,
Uh,
to be more porous.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very unconventional setup in my life. I have a partner who is suffering from schizophrenia, and I'm really proud of that whole situation. I'm nowhere seeking any sympathy or pity about it, because uh, he going through that has made each and every one of us so amazingly wide. It has just opened all of us in the family in such a different way that it's really magic. I agree with you, Monica. It's just mother who can do that. I can't otherwise explain that.
Yeah.
So every day is it's more like a badminton. When I'm hitting a racket, I know what shot it is, but when it's going to come back, I don't know what it will be. So every day it's going to be a new drama, a new game. So, but these little things, they really matter to me, because I have to sustain the discipline in the house. Otherwise, the illness will eat us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Mm. I would like to share with you at this. This has given me an opportunity to share with you all two things, which is like a symptom of the separate self. One is seeking. Separate self, when I say separate self, it means the ego, the imaginary sense of separation. Uh, First part is seeking, and the second is resisting. When I say seeking, it includes the demands, the expectations, the want to fulfill myself, because the separate self forever feels incomplete. And that feeling of incompletion is nothing but a signal. Why is it a signal? Because I am not actually that separate self. you know. So that feeling of incompletion and a want to fulfill that incompletion is just my remembrance of my true nature, which is forever complete. So the separate self, not knowing what to do, in this haze, in this confusion, it wants to fulfill itself, fulfill itself, because it remembers that fulfillment, the original fulfillment, the source from which it comes. So seeking, wanting the things to be my way. Now it does not mean that we do not communicate whenever it feels, the situations feel don't right. We obviously communicate, but we communicate because that is what feels right. We do not communicate because if not, that is not happening, I will be feeling incomplete or restlessness will be there, right? So this seeking part, and the second part is resisting. So why I brought up this there was what Rinkuji shared, that as such she does not have any issue with the pain. It's okay for her to go with the pain. What is the issue then? The issue is that when I am in that chair or that situation, any situation, forget about this situation, something in me is getting stiff and something in me is bringing up a resistance to stiffness. I don't want it to be there. I don't want it to be there. Something is me is not liking the situation. Now there is nothing wrong with not liking a situation. I may not like a person. There is nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, a resistance springs up in the being. And that says, oh, I'm not liking this experience. I must be liking it. I'm not liking that I'm not liking it. So this is where the misery begins. And it is very important for us to go close to it, seeking and resisting. So I am being sad, and a part of me says, I don't want to be sad. That creates the misery. Right? So when I am able to see this for a fact that yes, this happens that I'm not liking, and something in me is not fine with not liking. The moment I'm able to go close to it, I see that there is no need for the resistance to be there. It's okay to not like a particular situation. We are under no obligation to like everyone or like every situation. It's okay. I'm allowing myself. It's okay. And in that very moment, an ease comes back again. And this is how we, progressively grow through our experiences, realizing that yes, I am resisting. Now, again, the moment I said this, so I can see that I am resisting, and then there can be resistance to resistance. This game is so amusing. And the moment something in me says, okay, resistance, I allow you to be there. It's okay. No, I'm easy again. And in that ease, I can go through all experiences. Right? So just wanted to kind of share it here because I found that the kind of discussion was quite appropriate. Yeah.
And it's beautiful that in the same period I'm finding all my clients connecting on the same parameters.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. It's very interesting. Mother also says that the divine can make use of anything. The divine makes use of even the failures and the darkest of challenges in order to do the divine work. So even our failures, so-called failures, which to us appear as failures and challenges, even they are being made use of. Yeah. So yeah, this was very interesting. This line here, you are conscious that your individuality is your own line of expression, but at the same time, you know that it is an expression objectifying the one universal consciousness. So yes, there is a psychic personality, but that there is no separation that you feel. It's almost that the wave has now recognized itself as the part of the ocean. The wave has known itself that it will never be separate from the ocean. That is what a psychic personality is. So it is in continuation with the divine. The communication with the divine is a continuum. Huh? And there is no separate entity that it feels, there is no strangulation from its source. And hence there is no fear. that I must protect myself. Why must a wave protect itself when it is the ocean itself? Let the ocean play. Yeah. Okay, let's read this one. To dwell in the psychic. Who would like to read? Okay, do you want me to read? If not, anyone is ready. I think Jasmine is not well.
Monica, may I?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. So who's going ahead? May I?
Yes, please. Yeah.
To dwell in the psychic. To dwell in the psychic is to be lifted above all greed. You will have no hankering, no worry, no feverish desire. And you will feel also that whatever happens, happens for the best. Do not misunderstand me to imply that you must always think that everything is for the best. Everything is not for the best so long as you are in the ordinary consciousness. You may be misled into utterly wrong channels when you are not in the right state of consciousness. But once you are poised in the psychic and have made your self offering to the divine, all that happens will happen for the best. For everything, however disguised, will be a definite divine response to you. Indeed, the very act of genuine self giving is its own immediate reward. It brings with it such happiness, such confidence, such security as nothing else can give. But till the self giving is firmly psychic, there will be disturbances, the interval of dark moments between bright ones. It is only the psychic that keeps on progressing in an unbroken line, its movement a continuous ascension. All other movements are broken and discontinuous, and it is not till the psychic is felt as yourself that you can be an individual even, for it is the true self in you. Before the true self is known, you are a public place, not a being. There are so many clashing forces working in you. Hence, if you wish to make real progress, know your own being, which is in constant union with the divine, then alone will transformation be possible. All the other parts of your nature are ignorant. The mind, for instance, often commits the mistake of thinking that every brilliant idea is also an illuminous idea. It can, with equal vigor, trump up arguments for and against God. It has no infallible sense of the truth. The vital is generally impressed by any show of power and is willing to see in it the godlike. It is only the psychic which has a just discrimination. It is directly aware of the supreme presence. It infallibly distinguishes between the divine and the undivine. If you have even for a moment contacted it, you will carry with you a conviction about the divine which nothing will shake.
Yes, yes. I think that's enough. We can discuss
Yeah.
that first. Yeah, thank you. So here, the first line says to dwell in the psychic is to be lifted above all greed. Now, Mother is not saying that you are doing effort uh, to become greedless. And that is again, as we were sharing earlier, that it is a byproduct of the psychic illumination. It's a byproduct of the psychic coming in front. That the greed, see, greed, why is the greed needed? Why is greed even there? The greed is there because I operate most of the life, I operate from a sense of incompletion, right? The separate self is forever incomplete. It is forever wanting, seeking, and it is forever wanting to complete itself. कोई भर दे मुझे, भर दे, कोई वैलिडेशन दे दे, कोई अप्रूवल दे दे, कोई एक स्माइल पास कर दे, अरे कुछ तो, कुछ तो दे दो. We talk in our sessions about the begging bowl. So it's exactly that. And through greed, I'm trying to fulfill myself. Now, the intention is not bad. The intention is that I'm longing for my fulfilled self. I'm longing to be back to my true self. But I don't know the way, owing to the ignorance. So whatever I see, I make it, my consumption. Whatever I see, I want to be greedy about it. कि मजा आएगा, fulfill करेगा. But even then, we see that the greed maybe appears to mask that incompletion for some time, but it then props up again. The incompletion was just masked in the moment of consumption. So, to dwell in the psychic is to be lifted above all greed. Why? Because the psychic is not uh, that incomplete stuff. Psychic is fulfilled in itself, it is complete onto itself. It knows that there is nothing needed anymore. So greed is not there. It does not mean that you don't enjoy life. It does not mean that you become an ascetic. It just means that if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, it's okay. So that is to be lifted above all greed. You will have no hankering, no worry, no feverish desire. Again, desire, as we were talking earlier, seeking, two parts of the ego, seeking and resisting. Desire is seeking to fulfill myself. Even desire for uh, on the basis of emotions and all that, or desire for the material stuff, it is all wanting to be fulfilled. कुछ है जो complete नहीं है और ये उसको पूरा करेगा. That is the promise that desire gives. So there is no point running after the desire. Now that doesn't mean that the desire cannot be there. The desire may be there, but I will not be ruled by the desire, right? And you will feel also that whatever happens for the best. So there is no point worrying or hankering about anything. If anything so called wrong happens, it is okay. Why is it okay? Because I am not that. I am the one which is eternally fulfilled. I am the one which never is born and it never dies. So even if so called wrong may happen, I may even lose a limb. So called wrong has happened. But that doesn't reduce my essence. That is the certitude. Whatever happens for the best. Maybe this experience is necessary for me. This is what I have to go through in this life. Whatever. And then Mother shares that for the outer consciousness, for the ordinary consciousness, when I'm not in touch with this deeper space, there I cannot say that everything that happens for the best. I cannot say that. It is hypocrisy. There the reason is required. There the intellect is required. Rational thinking is required. But when I am in touch with this deeper space, there I know, there is a knowing that whatever is happening for the best. Because I am not doing anything out of greed or desire of fulfillment. And that is why whatever happens, obviously the divine has kind of, wanted me to go through this experience. Yeah. And here, in the first line of the second paragraph, mother shares, indeed, the very act of genuine self-giving is its own immediate reward. कर्म और फल इकट्ठे. हमको लगता है ना कि कर्म पहले होता है और फल उसके बाद आता है. This is like the moment I am in a state of openness and self-giving, the peace and contentment that I have in that moment, that is the reward. Karm and phal together, parallelly. And what is the karma and phal when I'm in a confused state? Misery, suffering. So the karma is also happening. The karma is the continuous churning of the thoughts. And what is the phal that is parallelly happening? Is the misery that I am receiving. So there is not there may be more in future, obviously, but parallelly I am having the karma and the cause and the effect, the cause and the effect. So the very act of being on this path of self-giving, more and more self-giving, it brings with it such happiness, such confidence, such security as nothing else can give you. The journey is the goal. Yeah, and then mother shares that, but till the self-giving is firmly psychic, means that it may be like, that mentally I'm saying that I'm giving myself, offering myself, first it comes at a mental level. So mother is saying, as uh, if it is not completely that psychic that is giving itself, if it is only at the mental level, then we will feel kind of disconnections, abhi thi abhi nahi hai, abhi thi abhi nahi hai, and that is okay. Mother is saying that that is okay to happen, because in the beginning it is a kind of a broken and discontinuous, but the more it grows from the psychic, the hold of mind is not there, the hold of feelings is not that much there. Now the psychic self-giving is continuous and luminous, goes on, goes on, goes on. And mother is, this is something really beautiful, that we call ourselves individual. Mother is sharing that until the psychic is not felt, you are not even an individual, you are a public place, not a being. किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, गिर गए, पड़ गए, उसने कुछ कह दिया, इधर गिर गए, सब यही तो होता है हमारे साथ. We do hardly have any self mastery. Anything that anybody says dumps us. So mother is sharing that you are a public place, not a being. How can we call ourselves a human being? There are so many clashing forces working in you, and hence, if you wish to make a real progress, know your own being, which is in constant union with the divine. It's an urgency almost for those of us who are ready to live it out. Then alone the transformation will be possible. Yeah. And here, that mother shares that if you even for a moment have contacted it, and we all have, if we really sit back in silence today and ask ourselves, tell me, ask yourself, tell me, where all was I manifesting the psychic out? We will get a response. The depths of our experiences. There was something in you that just knew. Pure knowing. There is no logical explanation along with it. Pure knowing. That light of knowing. And Mother is sharing that even if for a moment you have contacted it and you are able to get in touch with that experience, you will carry with you a conviction about the divine with nothing can shake, certitude, unshakable faith in the divine. Yes. Now, again, the need to slow down. It's not that we did not have any experience like that. We all have. But the mind tells us that we must run, and we run. And the more we begin to slow down, we see that it's all there. There is no need to run. Or maybe at times we can run, but it's not an obsessive running that is going on. And again, in the next paragraph, Mother shares, and all urge for perfection comes from the psychic. So one may not be aware, a person may not be aware actually that it is the psychic that is manifesting in him or her. All urge for perfection comes from the psychic. And again, if we see people around us, some element or the other in them, we will see that they have this urge for perfection. It may be a very material field, does not matter. And they are not even aware who they are. That is also okay. But the psychic does not stop working. All urge for perfection comes from it. But you are unaware of the source. You are not collaborating with it knowingly. See this line, beautiful. You are not in identification with its light. One may actually be living in complete outer consciousness, ego self, complete separate self, and yet the psychic is at work in one field or the other. The perfection. What is the symptom? The perfection, the sense of perfecting things. Yeah. The psychic is a steady flame that burns in you, soaring towards the divine and carrying with it a sense of strength which breaks down all oppositions. Divine strength. A strength which I don't even know exists in me. I may actually consider myself as a very weak person. And I may completely buy that thought that yes, I have been and I am a very weak person. But uh, just my imagining it does not uh, say that it is true. And a growing sense of strength is again coming forward of the psychic. And see the last two lines. When you are identified with it, you have the feeling of divine truth. Then you cannot help feeling also that the whole world is ignorantly walking on its head with its feet in the air. So it's impossible not to notice it. And that is what Kabir had noticed throughout his life, through all the couplets. What are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you running? You are missing the very obvious. Stop, stop, take a pause. But that doesn't mean that we obviously the psychic won't use it in a derogatory sense. One sees it and it brings rise to compassion. It brings rise to more kindness in the being. That suffering is no fun. And then again, I'm skipping a few lines and then going to the last line. Then you will be one, nothing will shake or disturb you. You will make steady and lasting progress. So things will still happen, life situations will still go up and down, and at the same time, parallelly, this unshakable faith is there that situation may seem to go wrong outwardly, but nothing can go wrong really. So that on the outer you may appear to be a little shaky, owing to whatever is happening, but it will not be able to sway you off of the poise of the psychic. So even in the middle of the confusion, in the middle of a challenge, the action that you will take will be coming from the psychic. That's the certitude. And it's again, you know, it happens in degrees. In degrees, uh, kind of we become porous to the psychic presence, if I can use those words. Your normal self is merely a shadow of your true individuality. So a true human being, we call ourselves human being, we are not still a true human being. We are mostly in the animal nature most of the times. Yeah. Okay, so I think for the discussion part, I think this is enough. And then in this part which I have shared, मैं इसके लिए ना आपको एक audio या video share कर दूंगी, the psychic and spiritual education. So here Mother has shared 11 points, which I had also shared in Heal Yourself talk. I had focused on these 11 points. And yeah, here, starting from here, the first and perhaps the most important point is that the mind is incapable of judging spiritual things. So it starts from here. There are 11 points, and I have 2 3 recordings on which where I have kind of stressed upon these 11 points. In case somebody is interested, I can share those links. Yeah, and these 11 points are, if one can say, the journey towards the psychic. Yeah. Yes, I will share. Yes, thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, I will share. Uh, so
In the
one,
group later on, not
yeah,
on the screen right now, right? Okay.
right. I will share on the group. Yes. So in the last pain and suffering course also, in one particular session, we had just discussed these 11 points. So I will share that recording, and along with that, I will also share the Heal Yourself talks recording where I had discussed these 11 points. So from my side, I think we have enough discussion for today. It would be good to just kind of bask now in the rest. Too much of words and talk. So if there is anything you can just share. Yeah. Too much of words and talks from my side, from your side not. So you're welcome to share if there is anything. Yeah. Okay, nothing. So then in that case, thank you for joining. And thank
I
you.
just want
Yeah.
to ask a quick
Yeah.
one.
हाँ.
How about इतनी अच्छी बातें करने के बाद मगर एक बात आई. How about a person like a terrorist?
Hmm.
So just does their soul, they don't listen to it, or does it just go silent, or
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's complete identification with the thought. It's as if I'm brainwashed. And you're right, it's like a wall of obscurity has come. A wall of obscurity has come which is not letting me be in touch with the light of truth. And again, if we actually go close to lives of terrorists, we will find that there is goodness there also. as mother was sharing here, that a sense of perfecting, but it is directed towards wrong, so called wrong. Why wrong? Because ethically we do not consider it right to kill each other, right? But in wars we are doing that, in the name of nations and in the name of borders we are doing that, and that we consider very moral. So our ethics and our morals are completely based on what suits us. If it suits the nation to be in war, they will kill each other. But when a so-called terrorist is doing that, then it is considered immoral or unethical. And it is nothing, all the ugliness, so-called ugliness, and all the, you know, this violence is nothing but identifying myself as ego, identifying myself as this body, and the story of me, that I am from a particular religion and I must protect who I am. So I've completely identified with that. Yeah.
So just like a terrorist is brainwashed and he never touches his soul, he listens to the soul, which is, they say it's a very feeble voice and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then that means that बिल्कुल तो धीरे धीरे प्रोग्रामिंग हो जाती है और फिर आप उसको सुनते ही नहीं हो, so that you become like hardcore, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
same way we can practice धीरे धीरे listener and to listen to it and then evolve or something.
बिल्कुल
So
बिल्कुल.
and also what about, with no offense, eating non-veg, because we know it's an act of violence has
Mm,
gone into it.
mm.
So why does um,
Yeah.
because there's a famous story that Hitler was a vegetarian and still he could do all the cruelty on earth.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so
I
how
think
how do you
Alokda
think about
also shares about this. Alokda has shared about this in a few talks. I don't remember the exact talks, and he shares. I think that at some places, for example, in world, if we go to Antarctica or somewhere, there is nothing else but non-veg, right? So you eat that because the
yeah,
body.
you won't survive without the heat of
Exactly,
the meat.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
what we do is we make it into a thing of you are inferior and I am superior if I am vegan or vegetarian, and you are something who is cruel. So there, I think there is no need to go there, because whatever suits that particular region, is what is done. And I will do whatever suits me. So now if I am feeling more and more that I will leave all the milk products or whatever, if it is the call of my being, do that, whatever calls your being. But again, basing yourself inferior or superior according to being vegetarian or
No,
not
no, nothing to do
non-vegetarian.
with
Yeah.
judging anybody or
Yeah.
anything, but just trying to understand because some people, anyway feel a little more compassionate and then the act of violence disturbs them and
Exactly.
they
So if
give
it
it up.
feels the call of your
Mm.
being, then one must follow it. Yeah. And I remember that mother at many instances to her sadhaks is sharing that you must eat more eggs because your health is not fine. So mother is now, some vegans can say that why is mother talking about eating eggs? But that was the call of the hour. That was the need of the hour. And depends on context to context. Yeah.
हाँ मतलब वही बात होगी कि सिर्फ स्वाद के लिए नहीं आप खा रहे हो.
Mm. Yeah.
So if you have a different source, then you can just rationally think and have a different choice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.